This is Jordan Poole being defended by LeBron James. He jab steps to the right and then immediately understands that he could do anything he wants. He then decides to jab step again to the right, which is immediately followed up with a one dribble step back three. Dang guys, that shot hits nothing but net, and I can't see what LeBron is saying at this time because he runs off the screen. But if I had to guess, he probably said something along the lines of, sheesh. At the same time, however, if Paul George of the Clippers was asked how he feels about that shot, he'd probably say, word for word,
care what anybody says, that's a bad shot.
So I want to show you something that I found hilarious. Here's Curry with the ball. He tosses it to Looney, who then swings it to Draymond, and then at that moment, Steph cuts hard to the basket, Draymond dishes in the ball, and Curry scores. A hockey assist for Looney, an actual assist for Draymond, and 2 points for the two-time MVP. What a beautiful play. But that's not what I wanted to show you. You see Curry here on the side? He actually stayed here for a couple of seconds, and I thought he twisted his ankle or something and was thinking to myself, dear Lord, I hope he didn't hurt himself again. But this was what he was actually doing.
Curry's got 20, and the Dubs are back in it. And Steph says hello.
I thought to myself, I was worried for no reason. This is probably gonna become a meme, but anyways, I want to start this video off by talking about James Wiseman and how he's gonna make the Warriors go from elite to just downright unfair. Here he is in transition. He runs the floor incredibly fast in transition and loses his initial defender in the dust, and just like that, he creates a problem for opposing teams because, look, after catching the pass from Wiggins, his defender coming in to help is now 6'10" Michael Porter Jr., and although that's pretty tall, he has no chance of blocking the shot, and it becomes a drill for the 7-foot center. Here's Wiseman again. He's setting the screen for Poole, and because teams have to treat him like how they treat Curry, two defenders go with the fourth-year guard, and Wiseman rolls to the rim. As the one who runs the second unit, Poole then locates the big man who flushes it down with no resistance. What I'm trying to point out is, he's well on his way to becoming an elite center who's going to make this 2023 Warriors team nearly unbeatable. This isn't a joke or an exaggeration. I mean, here's his stats so far. You might not be impressed with 11 points and 6 rebounds per game, but look, the man is doing it on only 17.5 minutes per game. And here's the kicker, he's scoring at about 72% from the floor. Talk about efficiency. Last season, the most efficient player was Rudy Gobert, who scored it at 71.3% from the floor. Man, it looks like Wiseman's training with Jokic's former coach is paying dividends. And here's something else. If we use the per 36 minutes stat, which is how much he'd produce if his current statistics were extrapolated to 36 minutes per game, he'd be averaging about 22 points and 12 rebounds on, again, 72% shooting from the floor, which could arguably get him some All-NBA votes. Sheesh, guys. Now, I know this statistic doesn't tell the whole story because if he played on the first unit, he'd be facing tougher defenders, and with more minutes, his efficiency will in all likelihood drop a bit. But the point I'm trying to make is, with the coaching he's getting from Draymond, Steph, the coaching staff, and pretty much everyone around him, and with the experience he gains from every game, he's only going to get better and better as the season rolls out. And by the time the playoffs start, he could be just as good as DeAndre Ayton, who is a max contract caliber player. Anyways, let me pivot here to someone who's actually playing for a max contract. Here's Steph with the ball running a high pick and roll with Draymond. Once the two defenders stick with Curry, he dishes the ball to the roller. And once Draymond sees the next defender sliding a bit, he swings it to Wiggins in the corner. Then once Wiggins sees Porter Jr. overcommitting, he makes a play towards the basket and freeze. I want to point out Draymond here. After setting the initial screen for Curry and diving to the rim, then swinging the ball out to the corner man, he still wasn't done with his job yet. Because look, he's sealing off Aaron Gordon, a 6'10" athletic wing who could have challenged Wiggins and forced him to take a tough shot, but as a result of doing the little things that the box score doesn't show, he got his teammate a clear open lane for a dunk. Ladies and gentlemen, plays like this show me that Draymond Green is clearly motivated to play the best basketball he's ever played because, well, the reason is simple. His next $100 million payday depends on it. If you remember from last season, he was the leading candidate for Defensive Player of the Year until his injury occurred, and so, in addition to James Wiseman becoming a cheat code, the Warriors for 2023 have one of the smartest defenders in the league who's both healthy and motivated. Next off, while it's unfortunate that Klay missed the three-point shot, which could have sent the Denver game into overtime, the All-NBA player who helped the Warriors win multiple championships is officially back. I mean, look at this. Here's Klay running along the baseline. He uses the Wiggins screen to momentarily lose his defender and, instead of forcing the shot here, he makes the correct play and locates the open Wiggins, who flushes it for two. Last season, he came back from the injury and the chemistry just wasn't quite there, and at times it felt like he was trying to prove a point, and as a result, he took some really difficult shots, but this season, it looks different. Let's look at another one. In this play here, Klay is going to use the Draymond screen, but once the defender goes under, his splash instincts take over, and the moment Poole swings the ball over, without even hesitating, Klay lets it fly. The way he's moving really looks a lot sharper than last season when they won the championship, and the crazy thing is, he's still not at 100%. I mean, he's currently on a minutes restriction for crying out loud. Next off, let's take a look at the Warriors as a whole. Because although they lost recently against the Nuggets, the truth is, they sort of slacked off in the first quarter and played sloppy defense, allowing Denver to score 40. Then in the second quarter, they were making the right plays and getting open shots, but the shots just weren't falling. But despite all of this, the Warriors were still able to nearly overcome a 20-point deficit against a team that many believe will be a top 3 seed in the West. Sheesh, guys, how crazy is that? And while some people might be bummed out from the loss against the Nuggets and almost losing a 26-point lead against the Kings, it's exactly like how I predicted. I mean, look here. The Warriors starters are completely dominating. They're all positive in the plus-minus department, and vice versa, the opposing team starters are all in the negative. Whether it was LeBron and AD or Nikola Jokic and Michael Porter Jr., Steph Curry and the other 4 starters have been taking them to school. Clearly, there's going to be some growing pains because the second lineup is filled with younger players who don't understand how to win yet in the NBA, but as the season continues, Golden State is going to have a championship caliber starting 5 with a bench filled with lottery talents who will not only be young and athletic, but experienced as well. You know something else that I predict? No matter how many long bombs that Steph throws down like this one, or this one, I know one thing is for certain. Somewhere out in the world with a smirk on his face, Paul George is saying to himself,
I care what anybody says, that's a bad shot.
That's a bad shot.